Ellie and I met in college and hit it off right away. When we started dating, I was not really assertive. You could accurately say that it was her showing interest and desire in me that made me really begin to value myself and work past a ton of insecurities I used to deal with. I was just a hard-working, nerdy smart dude, but had never had any real luck with women. To me, it was almost incredible that someone as smart and beautiful as her would show as much interest in me as I showed in her. We both have always been driven, which led to us separately building small businesses of our own by the time we graduated college. We moved in together after graduation and a year later married. We had, what I considered, a very strong marriage. We had weathered family tragedies, professional challenges, small and large disagreements, and always managed to work through everything, and I felt it always made us stronger. Ellie has always had a huge social circle that included a fair number of men, but I never thought too much about it as she never did anything that raised flags. Since all social outings seemed to always be as a large mixed group, and I came to trust her closest friends. As our 10-year anniversary was coming up, I decided to bring up the topic of starting a family. Early on in the relationship we had together decided to compromise on the size of our family. I wanted kids, she wanted none or at most one, so we agreed on having one. Now 10 years into our marriage, secure economically and thinking how healthy though our relationship was, I brought the topic up. I can't help but think me doing this may have started this whole chain of events. A little over 3 months ago she tells me she is going out with her friends to have some fun. She basically told me she needed to unwind as she was getting stressed about me asking about having kids again. That night she comes back at 4 a.m. Starting with that day our bedroom goes completely dead. In our relationship Ellie has always initiated as much as me. In fact, on average, I would say more often than me. And for rare periods when we were dealing with traveling, I can't think of us ever going more than 5 days without some form of intimacy. She starts going out more, guarding her phone, avoiding me, all this stuff I had never seen from her before. After about 3 to 4 weeks of this, I talk to Omar, my best friend, and he points me to Reddit and I start reading. Eventually, I decide I need to do something about this as it's beginning to put me in a bad mood. I don't just want to trust her, I like to trusting my wife, I need to trust her. Well, needless to say I get my hands on her phone and check her calls and texts, feeling like a complete monster violating her privacy. Turns out that one of the people new to her social circle is an old high school flame from before we were together. The more I dug, the more I found. I think the fact I'd always trusted her completely made her complacent about hiding the affair better. I found out that during that party a month before, he had attended, and they spent all night catching up and ended up kissing. Not even really hiding it from her whole group of friends and then conveniently going to the bathroom at the same time. Up to this point all I had felt has been this giant pit of anxiety in my stomach. A part of me trying to hold on to the image of the woman I thought I had married. A kind of self-delusion. But the anger and sadness start getting overwhelming, made worse by the fact that she seems oblivious to my sudden indifference. She didn't notice I had stopped making romantic gestures. I felt like I was breaking inside. Finally, a month ago I decided to catch them in the act and I tell Ellie I am going to visit my cousin for the weekend. He lives 3 hours away, but instead I go stay with Omar, who has been helping me record and copy everything. I waited and sure enough, she brought him to our house, to our bed. I snuck in the house and made my way to our room and the sounds left no doubts. They were so into it they didn't notice me standing there at the door recording them with my phone. I literally felt something in me break, like something in my soul snapped so hard I could hear it. My veins went ice cold and something like a 10-ton anvil had been dropped on my chest. I couldn't breathe. I went numb. This next part I can only tell you what Omar says happened, because I only remember parts of the next few minutes. According to Omar, who I had brought as a witness, apparently I walked up to them, pulled the guy off the bed, and Omar pulled me off of him. I remember Omar holding me down on the ground. After that there was the normal hysterics of being caught. I went no contact for 5 weeks and began working with a lawyer preparing for the worst. Omar served as her contact point during that time since I simply didn't want to talk with her. Ellie contacted my family and told them that we are having problems. After the 5 weeks of no contact we met and talked. She was remorseful, told me it wasn't my fault, that it was all her doing. Her responsibility and her decisions. We decided to go to marriage counseling and at least explore if there is anything salvageable. Sitting here I can't believe that even after that, I still love her. I am disgusted with myself that I have thought about her well-being, about her happiness. I especially hate that now I have to question our entire relationship. Was it just now that she got brazen about cheating, or has it happened before, and I didn't bother looking far enough or was too stupidly trusting to see it at all? It's been now almost a month since deciding to try marriage counseling, and my questions to those who have already gone through this are the following. 1. Is it possible to reconcile without feeling that you lose some self-respect? 2. How long does the anger to sadness to numbness, rinse and repeat cycle last? I'm getting exhausted of the constant emotional roller coaster. 3. I find myself really loathing the whole idea of having to essentially be on the constant lookout. Is that a sign of me wanting out or just me being exhausted? Cause I honestly can't tell. I'll take any advice, honestly. I love her. I've been head over heels for her since we met back in college. I want to work it out. Is it actually possible? And if it is, will it ever resemble what it used to be even remotely? Bringing AP to your marital bed means there is no respect for the spouse whatsoever. There may be still chance for reconciliation if there is some sacredness with marital bed and property, but it's obvious that it means nothing to her. She has no respect for you, so you need to give yourself some respect. Maybe all this time she's with you, she's always had this what if with her old flame, and she jumped on him when she had the chance. If you reconcile, you can never be sure if she won't monkey branch when she bumps into another old flame. I feel like you should go ahead and get a divorce. None of the events that you described hints at she being remorseful about. I wouldn't give marriage counseling or her a second chance. Good thing is that you guys haven't got any kids. Dump her. She lied again and again and again. It's awesome that you don't have any kids with her. That makes it way easier and better. If you stay in this marriage, you will never be able to look at her and yourself the same. Watching her with another man when she should have been faithful to you, it's so heartbreaking. Have some self-respect and get out of that messy and unfair situation for you. I know it will hurt, but it will get better over time and you'll find someone who will love you and be faithful to you. If I would have been in your situation, I wouldn't be able to get that image of her and other man from my mind while she constantly lying to you. You have an advantage here. If you want to continue fixing your marriage, ask her for post-nup where all your assets are protected in future, no alimony or spousal support in case something happen in the future. Then you will be safe on your side. All the passwords of her social media and mobile phone and location sharing should be available to you at all times so you can build your trust again. Remember, she have to put the most effort in your marriage. It can take months to several years. Don't have kids with her yet. If you want to have kids and she doesn't, as you mentioned, then tell her this is a deal breaker. Honestly, mate, you should cut bait. You've just put off starting a family for another couple of years. Her friend group did nothing. Maybe that is because they don't care. Maybe it's because they've seen it before. The only thing you know is that you will never know. You are only 34. You could start something new with someone who hasn't hurt you and actually wants a family. In the same time, it will take you to build back trust and have the baby she doesn't actually want. Divorce is your gift to her. She did not want kids, and you are giving her the gift of not being with someone who does. You are giving her the gift of not feeling conflicted about those friends who neither tried to stop her or tell you what was going on. They were friends to her and likely had good qualities, but their actions showed they were not friends of the marriage. Divorce eliminates that conflict. The divorce gives her the gift of not being with someone, you, who is doing the hard and necessary work, through therapy, of learning to respect himself and recognizing disrespect. Something that's very hard to do in close proximity to the perpetrator of the largest disrespect. The divorce gives her space to work on herself to figure out the unresolved issues that led her to rekindle things with an old flame. Be so caught up in her own stuff that she had no awareness when you stopped being romantic, and being so caught up as to choose to desecrate your house and marital bed. Giving her space to work on herself will be a gift to her and any future relationship she has. There is rightful anger and sadness when it comes to the dissolution of a marriage, but I also believe that it really can be an act of generosity with a wish for the betterment of all. After reading everyone's replies and the messages, I took the weekend to let it all sink in and harden my resolve. I came to the conclusion that I was never going to be able to live with myself if I stayed with her. Staying and working on it would mean having to sacrifice a significant portion of my self-respect. I also realized that I want no part of a relationship that would require me to be in a state of constant vigilance for signs of betrayal. So I decided to push the proverbial red button and nuke it all. Here is how it all went down. I woke up early to an unexpected surprise. When I opened my eyes, my Johnson was greeting me at full attention. Guys, I can't stress how surprising that was to me, considering that since finding out about Ellie's affair I had not had morning wood. It was like my body was saying, hell yeah, we are gonna get this done today and be done, ready for something new. I actually laughed so hard at seeing it that Omar and his wife came to check in on me thinking I was having some sort of mental breakdown. I got up, got ready and called Ellie's dad and told him we needed to talk. I met up with him about an hour before our MC. The whole drive there I was surprised at how calm I was about it. I could still feel an ocean of emotions somewhere deep down, but on the surface I was not feeling anything. We met up at a little mom and pop breakfast place near his house and we sat down. Ellie's dad is a good man, lighthearted and funny, but more importantly he is level-headed. I thanked him for how he and his wife had treated me all these years and told him I was sorry to have this talk with him. He listened patiently, but as I started telling him why I was going to be divorcing his daughter, he lowered his head. I could tell he was ashamed and angry, not at me, but at Ellie. He told me he understood, and I asked him to not tell Ellie as I was going to be telling her within the hour. He agreed, we shook hands, and then he told me to take care. I hated having to shatter his image of her. I debated with myself if I should have asked him to care for her, but I shouted down that instinct because he is her dad. Of course he will care for her, but also it is no longer my business to care for her. She is a big girl. Next I went to our schedule's MC session. I had been rehearsing all day Sunday what I would say to her and how I would say it. I wanted to essentially emotion-proof my actions and words for the next few hours. I sat there in the parking lot for 10 minutes and just prayed. I hadn't felt like I wanted to work it since all this started. When we sat down for MC, Ellie was wearing one of the dresses I loved to her in, and for a split second I forgot everything. But then the visceral disgust and anger I felt pushed the attraction completely out. I let the counselor get things going like our previous sessions, and after about 10 minutes of her and Ellie talking, I interrupted. This is how it went. Excuse me, I have a few things I need to say into Ellie and that I wanted to be able to say here, with a neutral third party. If at any point I am interrupted, I will simply leave, and that's that. Ellie, I have come to realize I do not need to know if this was the only time you cheated. It doesn't matter. I do not need to know how long it went on for. It doesn't matter. I do not need to know how many times you cheated. It doesn't matter. I do not need to know why. Even if there was a good reason, a perfect why, it also would not matter. The only thing that matters is that you did. I know now the only facts that matter. You are never going to have children with me. At this, Ellie opens her mouth to interject, and I started walking to the door, so she immediately backed off. You were going to string me along for however long it would take. You were going to cheat on me sooner or later. This is when the waterworks started to open up for her. You do not respect me or love me. The counselor begins to look like she is about to interject, and I respond by taking another step towards the door, which ends that. My lawyer is filing for divorce as we sit here, and as of about an hour ago, your father knows the entire truth of what has been going on. Do not contact me. From here on out, the only person we will communicate through our lawyers. These are the last words we will ever exchange. Goodbye. I walked the last few steps to the door and walked out. As soon as I closed the door, I heard a wail the likes of which would haunt people's dreams. She scrambled out of the office pursuing me and tried to stop me, telling me how sorry she is and how we can start a family and to give her a second chance, as she cried hysterically throughout. I pushed past her and got in my car and left. At this point, that ocean of emotions that had been quietly hiding underneath, it all started roiling, and I was barely holding it in. I drove to my parents' house and sent the text message I had planned to Ellie's best friend's husbands. When I got home, my old man was at the store, but Mom could tell I wasn't well. She has always been able to read me like a book. I told her I needed to tell her and Dad something important, and we sat down and waited. At this point, I have to thank a Redditor for messaging me. We chatted and he totally calmed me down. About 30 minutes later, Dad arrived. I poured it all out. The more I talked, the more I felt that ocean of emotions emptying and all that pain pouring out of me. When I finished talking to my dad, he just held me as I cried into his shirt for a solid 20 minutes. When it all ended, I felt spent and oddly at peace. I have arranged for Omar to receive a Harley he has been eyeing for a while. He has been more than a friend to me, and I am going to try my best to be as good a friend to him as he has been to me. I can't wait to see his face. I think this is the last time I will post, as it should be the end of this story. I just want to thank you all. Would have never thought that I would find sound and sane advice from strangers on the internet. I know that it will be a long road ahead, that I will still need to deal with the aftershocks of this debacle, and rebuild my ability to trust. I have to hope that little by little all this pain and sadness and anger will go away, like Roto-Rooter for my soul, if I do the work. Now begins the rest of my life, and I can honestly say I am looking forward to it. You have clearly demonstrated that you have an understanding of what you can and cannot tolerate. You have acted in parallel with your articulated philosophical beliefs. I wish more people would hold cheaters accountable for their actions. It is only by doing so that their behavior will change. You handled yourself like a boss, and with class and self-control, in not only confronting her at MC, but taking the initiative and holding her accountable not only to her cheating, but that she no longer would hostage your heart and soul. And in the very place where many in your position as a man the narrative would spin in her favor, you took control not only from your ex but the therapist as well. This was your true therapy. You took the steps in reclaiming your life back. I know it hurts right now because taking down that wall when crumbling is draining. But you will survive this. You will rebuild to be something new, stronger, more powerful, and I guarantee you, this is the moment where your life begins again. It might not feel like a victory, but you have just laid the gauntlet down for a better world and yourself. You will find happiness again. Much good luck to you. Thank you so much for watching till the end.